Hello everyone, my name is Jalen Jones, digital producer here at WRAL. If you're watching this video, make sure you like and subscribe for more content you guys can get anywhere else. It's totally free, doesn't sign you up for anything, but what it does is make sure that the latest from WRAL shows up in your feed so you guys can stay informed. This week is Consumer Protection Week. Alex Littlehale sits right down here in this seat, gives us some signs, some tips, and some stats and things to look out for as a consumer and how to protect yourself. Here's that conversation. Also, are you a 5 on your side or just regular reporter?
5 on your side.
5 on your side?
You could just use an enterprise reporter.
Enterprise.
Because I've been doing like the
like
the Epstein stuff was the video game that was like an investigative.
Yeah.
The fentanyl stuff was investigative.
Yeah.
Some other of the stuff is 5 on your side. So just say enterprise. It's like everything within the enterprise.
I let people pick what they want.
Yeah.
Especially on this platform. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Here again, Alex Littlehale, our enterprise reporter. He is coming to us. It's Consumer Protection Week, and he wanted to give you, first of all, we're going to start off with some stats people should know to protect themselves as consumers.
Yeah.
What do you have for us today?
So Consumer Protection Week, you mentioned, is the first week of March every year, and it's essentially an opportunity for essentially the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. It is a sort of an education week for them to partner with agencies and organizations that deal with consumer fraud and consumer protection, scams, things like that. So two of the things that we'll talk about in a little bit is the Better Business Bureau, the FBI. Those are two sort of organizations and for the FBI, an agency that they deal with, they respond to consumer protection agency, making sure that consumers are protected, right? And so it's the first week of March. So what this week is about is highlighting fraud scams across the country. But since we're WRAL, we'll talk about North Carolina scams, right? So just some quick numbers so that people I feel like you see a lot of scam alerts. You see attention to scams a lot on social media. You're like, who it's 2026, who could possibly be getting scammed? There are people, okay? Like there are real life North Carolinians and
my mom was one of those people.
Really?
Yes,
Is that something you want to we don't have to, but I mean
no, it's just Facebook scams, getting those links. So a good thing is I pay for a Wi-Fi, so I get a notification when she clicks on a bad website, and I just go, "Hey, Mom, that website you're trying to click on to get that free gift card."
That is so interesting.
It's not a good website, so just trying to make sure that she's aware of those sites.
Wow, that's actually, that's a perfect sort of parlay into what we're talking about. So when we look at FBI numbers, there's something called the IC3 reports. So these are this is basically the Internet Crimes database for the FBI. And in 2024, they found that there were at least 22,000 North Carolinians, or they had at least 22,000 victim cases in the IC3 reports for North Carolina.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is, right? And so so we're talking every kind of internet crime. It could be a romance scam. It could be, a fake wire fraud scam. There's 20 categories of an internet crime. But they had essentially 22,000 North Carolinians reported being a victim to an internet crime in 2024. We know that the number is much higher because not everyone who is a victim of being a scam will report it. So that's just one number. We know that from the Better Business Bureau, who we talked to for this story, that regionally, so the Better Business Bureau of the Eastern Carolinas, roughly 50 counties locally, and which includes the Triangle, $2 million lost in 2025 to scams, essentially. Wow. So those are some very basic numbers. The FBI's got 22,000 people as of 2024. Last year, people just in this region alone lost $2 million in scams. Some are like $100, some could be more than that. But, I think those are two numbers that showcase, these are, we say it a lot of time, be mindful of scams, being hacked. And you think, who does this actually impact? Well, it does. It does impact real people.
Exactly. So talk to me about the signs. Obviously, things are going to sound a little fishy. They're not going to sound normal.
Yeah.
What are the signs you found that kind of hint to this may be a scam?
So First is basically there's an element of lying, right? So you're always going to find that there's a company, a website, someone is saying that there's someone who they're not actually being, right? So one of the signs of a scam is, the essence of like pretending to be from a known organization or a company. Another thing is that if you're in an interaction that, you're trying to purchase a good or you're involved in some kind of interaction, right? Like victims are usually presented with a problem or a prize. So it's an issue that you can help with, or that there's some kind of net benefit to you at the other end of this interaction. So
I see what you're saying.
A problem or a prize.
Yes.
Those are the two things. And that usually coincides with, this is the third sign, a pressure to act immediately, right? So that this problem needs to be tackled right now. This prize, this thing that you want, you need to act now to get this prize. There's a time element, because it puts people in a situation where they're, I'm not sure what to do. And, essentially, because there's an element of pressure, they're not thinking clearly, and they end up essentially being victimized that way, because they feel this time element working against them. So
I do have a story about that too, because my grandma called me panicking. Someone calling saying that you're in jail and you need bail money.
Wow, really? Oh my God.
FaceTimed her. I was like, hey, I'm at work. I'm okay. You're being scammed. And that was just kind of like the thing that you're talking about. We need this immediately, or he's going to be booked in jail.
And did they use your name?
Yeah, they used my name. They found my information. So, there's sites that can find out your family lineage and things like that. But yes, they knew my name, and they called my grandma demanding a couple $1,000s, and she called me panicking to make sure to see if I wasn't. And I'm glad I picked up the phone, because if I didn't, she probably would have sent some money.
But that's a case where your grandma did the right thing, right? Which is that, and actually we can get into the let's get into sort of like the tips that you can use to avoid being victimized. And I think the story of your grandma is a perfect example, because, number one tip, stop and think.
Stop and think.
Because that scammers are working with a time element to try to coerce you. You need to stop and think and just take a beat and really map out what is going on. Because in the situation like with your grandma, had she not gone through the forethought of, okay, let me call Jalen, let me make sure, let me verify that this is actually a thing. If she had just said, okay, well, I don't want him to, go to jail, then, she would have been victimized in that way, right? So that's number one, is always just stop and think. In the case of, a lot of times scammers will try to dupe websites or make dummy websites to have you buy into a portal or a product that doesn't exist. Just make sure the website is legit. So that's part of the stop and think mentality, right? Don't pay people you've never paid before. There's a lot of times where people will have these sales and interactions online, and then through Zelle or Venmo or Cash App, they pay someone because they want something, or someone's in trouble. Don't pay someone that you've never met before.
Yes.
Now, so, and any questions? So do you want to talk more about your grandma's story?
Man,
I mean, that's a pretty wild story.
Man, I think the grandma, and then I know there was an issue one time with my dad where he just thought that I was just in trouble. This was back in college. And again, these text messages that you get, because people can look it up. And there was actually one time, actually remembering this in college, there was a guy trying to pretend to be my dad. And he was like, and the question was, I asked him, I was like, hey, so when is my birthday? He's like, oh, yeah, it's today. And I was like, obviously it's not today. So I know it was a scam. He was like, he was trying to pretend to be my dad with the new phone number. And that was when I realized that was kind of my first thing. People could find out about your stuff on the internet. And I kind of made my family aware.
Isn't it crazy just how easy it is to access some of this information?
It is. It is just a Google search.
And so I have two more tips. And this is because we get into this a little bit. So a big component of the story that we're running for this is sort of the exchange of monies but also crypto, because crypto is becoming a massive problem in the scam industry. And so there's one thing that you should understand is that when you authorize a bank interaction, like if you pay someone money, whether through a transfer or a wire transfer, if you authorize a transaction, it's very, very difficult for you to call your bank and say, well, that was a scam, can you reverse it, right? Because you have given permission. It's very hard to prove that. So like one of the biggest tips is understanding that if you are going through with a financial transaction, that you understand that you're authorizing the direction of this payment. And so it could be a lot harder. Now, it's not like 100% you won't get the money back, but what we've found is that you don't want to put yourself in a position where you have to explain to a bank, well, I did authorize this. I did give this person or that entity like, $1,000, $2,000, but I didn't know because, you technically authorize it. So it's hard to prove that. Yes. So there is basically some language out there that says, make sure. Now, if you were hacked, that'd be different. Yeah. If someone gained access to your, I think probably everyone's probably had a run-in or two with their debit card or credit card account being stolen. Definitely. That's different, right? You can pause the card. You can dispute those transactions. That's a lot easier than if you're trying to convince a bank that this transaction that you signed off on was not legitimate. So hacking is one thing. Hacking is a little bit easier. Authorizing a transaction is going to be tougher, and especially when it comes to crypto. Crypto is becoming such a hot topic when it comes to scams because people still don't really understand where crypto investing, like how to do it, and people are playing into that lack of knowledge, and so they'll tell you to invest in this crypto account. And essentially, we highlight a story of a woman in North Carolina that she thought she was investing in this crypto wallet. She thought she was making all this money through crypto, and it was really just money that was going into this other person's accounts, right? And so, and the FTC, who again kind of oversees Consumer Protection Week, the FTC says that when it specifically involves crypto, it's almost nearly impossible to get that money back. So that's something you really have to be careful of. Got to be. I know I have a couple buddies that are big into crypto, and they go through PayPal and Cash App for their crypto, trying to use verified, reputable places to buy crypto as well. But in generally, kind of stay away from it because you don't have those same protections. Yeah, it's just there's just a lot of. I'm personally not someone that. Mainly because I don't. It's just very complicated, and so it's just not something that I feel there are legitimate ways to invest in crypto. It's just, but I just don't feel like I'm educated enough on it, and it is time consuming to do it. So, who knows? But
there are better options out there.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, if you're into it and you're all the power to you, right? But it's I just bring it up because it's becoming this it's really becoming this reoccurring theme of how scammers are able to get people in the modern era. Absolutely. If you want to invest, buy real estate, you got those options as well. Any other final tips you got for us? I think just even if you are scammed, one thought is that you should, even if it's not going to get you your money back, you should still try to report it. Through the Better Business Bureau, through the FTC, through the FBI, through their IC3 report, because, the report can still help, investigators can still maybe track down the suspect, the scammer, if they have a report. So there's no guarantee that that your wrong will be righted per se, but you could at least inform authorities that, maybe your story and the evidence that your story has maybe prevents someone else from getting scammed because it helps make an arrest for something else. It's still responsible to report these, even if there isn't a resolution that benefits you. It could help someone else. It could help authorities. It may be able to help you, but that's why I say, well, you know, for people that say, well, I've been scammed, I just want to forget about it, you should try to report it to the appropriate channels, because, you know, there's a small chance that you could still be helped, but even if not, there's a larger chance that you could be helping someone else prevent them from being scammed.
100%, because, you know, it comes down to kind of helping your neighbor.
Right.
Helping your neighbor out, because you never know who you can help. Well, thank you so much for your time. You gave us some stats, went over some signs, and you gave us some tips. Thank you so much for your time. And again, it's Consumer Protection Week. If you're being scammed or want to talk to Alex, go to WRAL.com/report it. We'll love to talk and hear from you. Thanks so much again, Alex. And again, make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you subscribe. It's totally free. Doesn't sign you up for anything. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.